The investigation into former OU President David Bourne is over. We'll tell you what was decided. Oklahoma's COVID cases take a sharp rise, and the final presidential debate is in 2 days. This is OU Nightly. There's no pump. The monitor. Thank you for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Mckenzie Gladney.
And I'm Lindsey Gibbs. We begin with new information about former Oklahoma Senator and President of OU, David Bourne. This afternoon, we know he will not be criminally indicted by a grand jury. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation concluded, which was confirmed by U.S. Attorney Pat Ryan's office this afternoon. The former senator, along with former OU Vice President Trip Hall, faced possible charges for sexual misconduct allegedly occurring while employed by the university. The OSBI began investigating the allegations made more than a year ago, including executing a search warrant on reports that both Bourne and Hall inappropriately kissed and touched former and current student employees at OU. Former U.S. Attorney Pat Ryan, who prosecuted the Oklahoma City bomber in 1997, was appointed special counsel on the case. Witness statements were heard before the grand jury back in August regarding the alleged behavior. Another allegation against both Bourne and Hall reached a financial settlement back in July. Both men have denied the allegations, and accuser Jeff Eddy thanks the community members who believed him through the attacks from Bourne's lawyers and supporters. There's been a dramatic rise in the number of COVID cases in Oklahoma.
The state health department reports almost 1,500 new COVID cases today, for a total of 14,659 active cases in the state right now. There are also 18 new deaths in the state, with a death toll just under 1,200 due to COVID. The city of Norman is reporting a high number of cases today, 68 new cases, bringing the total number of active cases in Norman to 474. The United States has had an 8.5 million people test positive for COVID, and just under 226,000 people have died from the virus.
And it looks like we're getting to the end of fall weather, with temperatures projected to drop in the 30s this week. OU Nightly's Chloe Sparks goes to find out how the cooler weather is affecting coronavirus cases.
Along with the fall leaves, temperatures are starting to drop, but COVID numbers are rising. Where outdoor social distant activities have been comfortable in September, people will be at a higher risk for contracting COVID being indoors this winter. In the midst of these colder temperatures is the possibility of a super spreading event. Boo! You guessed it, it's Halloween, and Cleveland County has issued a guidance to follow for the festivities to come. The list encourages serving candy outside using hand sanitizer, and if your costume incorporates a mask, do not wear your cloth mask with it. Colder weather calls for warmer clothing. Maybe masks will become an essential part of staying warm this winter. Chloe Sparks, OU Nightly.
As long as trick-or-treaters maintain their social distance and stay in groups under 10, then we can avoid a possibility of a dramatic spike. And the worry is those numbers may climb as we head into the winter months.
And Lindsay, we're already seeing some of that colder weather. Tyler Pardon joins us now with a first look at our forecast. Tyler?
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday to all of you. You know what, we decided to bring the weather office outside today because the sun came out just right at the last minute, right before it was about to set. You know, it was pretty cloudy throughout the day today. We saw a lot of cloud cover, and temperatures right now are actually very warm down towards the south. If you look down towards Ardmore, you can see temperatures approaching the mid-80s. But up near Norman, we are starting to cool off up in the mid-70s as of now, and a dry line is about to set through that will drop our dew points and keep us relatively dry overnight tonight with a few showers. But I'll get into the full forecast and all the details on cool weather coming up in just a few moments. Guys, I'll send it back.
Thank you, Tyler. President Trump looks to remove a country from the terrorism blacklist. Jessie Klinger has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world.
President Donald Trump has announced that Sudan will be removed from the U.S. list of state sponsors of terrorism if it follows through on its pledge to pay $335 million to American terror victims and their families. Sudan has agreed to pay compensation for the victims of the 1998 bombing of the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. The move would allow for the African country to get international loans and aids needed to revive its battered economy and rescue the country's transition to democracy. The Justice Department is suing Google for antitrust violations, alleging that Google is abusing its dominance in online search and advertising to stifle competition and harm consumers. It is the largest antitrust case against the tech company in more than 2 decades and follows a major congressional report that found Google and other tech giants like Facebook and Amazon enjoy monopoly power and have wielded their dominance in anti-competitive ways. After the lawsuit was filed, Google called the legal action flawed, saying that people choose to use Google. Archaeologists in Egypt have made another massive discovery after finding another large collection of ancient coffins believed to be 2,000 years old. The coffins join the other almost 60 coffins already recovered from the Saqqara necropolis. The unearthed artifacts were discovered in recent months inside 3 burial shafts. Although full details on the finding have been not yet released, officials believe the coffin contains senior statesmen and priests from the 26th dynasty. And in Norfolk, Virginia, a fairy tree village that appeared outside the home of children's book author Lisa Sahay in July has been received over 700 letters from kids across the country. The children who write the letters have received responses and advice from Fairy Godmother and Tinkerbell. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Jessie. Women in the workplace have made many strides over the year, but some women are facing major issues. We explain when OU Nightly continues.
Plus, the latest on the race for the White House, find out where President Trump and former Vice President Biden are spending time ahead of the next presidential debate.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. An advertising slogan from the early days of the women's movement said, "Baby, you've come a long way," but as OU Nightly's Anna Kate Weichel reports, some women in business say there's still a long way to go.
The oil and gas industry is filled with women, but these women feel as though they are not being treated equally.
With my internship in the commercial realm, there were 11 spots total, and we had 3 women and 8 men. So a big disparity there, but we thought maybe it was just there aren't as many women in this realm, but I don't really believe that that's the case.
Summer isn't the only woman in business feeling this way either. Kira Solenstuff interned for a company this past summer and had a shocking realization.
I asked him, we said, "Oh, you get paid this much too?" And he said, "Actually, no, I don't. I get paid more than that." And we were just really surprised, to say the least, because we all have very similar backgrounds and experiences.
The University of Oklahoma does have a Women in Business Association that is open to new members.
There's 14 days and counting from what people are calling the biggest election in U.S. history. Grace Whitten tells us what the presidential candidates have in store in politics. Grace?
We are now 2 weeks away from election night, and our presidential candidates are maintaining busy schedules. President Donald Trump is in Pennsylvania tonight for a rally, and Florida's canceled her appearance as she recovers from COVID-19. Meanwhile, Senator Mitch McConnell says the Senate will vote on Monday to confirm Trump's Supreme Court nominee, Judge Amy Coney Barrett. And Democratic nominee Joe Biden will not be traveling this week as he focuses on debate preparation. And yes, you heard that correctly. The final presidential debate is in 2 days, giving Donald Trump and Joe Biden one last chance to talk. Well, kind of. Microphones will be turned off when the presidential candidates are not answering initial questions, but will be turned on again for open discussion. The move aims to stop the constant interruption that happened during the first debate. Moderator Kristen Walker from NBC will ask the candidates about several topics, including COVID-19, race in America, and climate change. The 90-minute debate will be next Thursday at 8 p.m. here in Oklahoma. The Senate Election Board is warning voters to be cautious about any text, calls, or emails detailing voting information. This warning comes after an Oklahoma City woman received a false text last week saying her polling station had changed. Election officials will contact voters about changes to polling location through mail, not text, calls, or emails. If you're planning on voting in person, check your polling location through the Oklahoma Election Board website or contact your county election board. Avoid confusion, avoid scams, and plan your vote. Here in Oklahoma, early in-person voting is October 29th, 30th, and 31st. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 27th.
Thank you so much, Grace. And there could be a possibility that OU will see another pass-fail semester when OU Nightly continues.
And Tyler has another look at the weather.
Yeah, we have quite a bit of warmth headed our way, but you know what? We got a cold front coming. I'll explain a little bit more coming up. To OU Nightly. Take a look at this gorgeous sun right outside right now. You know, we had a lot of cloud cover earlier today, but those clouds have since gone away and that sun is shining. It is 77 degrees right now, and the winds are out of the southeast, blowing at about 9 miles an hour. That dew point has started to creep up just a little bit, but there's a dry line that's going to come through. It'll sweep those dew points down to the upper 50s overnight tonight, so we'll feel very dry, but all this air is just getting lifted up, which is why we had all this cloud cover. And actually, if you saw this morning, you might have heard a rumble of thunder or two out east of I-35 there. Oh, the radar stopped playing, but you get the gist. We saw some thunderstorms this morning, and it actually caused a few rumbles of thunder here and there, but you know, we might see that tonight as well. Again, once that front starts to lift back north, we might see a few more spotty showers here and there. But the main story of today, what I wanted to talk about, was this cold front that is going to come in Friday morning. So we have a short wave, is what we call in the business, a short wave that kind of comes off the Rocky Mountains there, and it will allow all this cooler air to kind of pool into central Oklahoma, which is what it's going to do on Friday morning on into Saturday, and drop our temperatures to quite seasonable for this time of the year going into Monday as well. And take a look at these numbers. So we're going to be about 18 degrees above the normal for tomorrow and on into Thursday as well, and then really cool off into the 50s and even the upper 50s for Saturday and on through the weekend as well. But overnight tonight, we might see a few passing clouds from time to time, and even a rumble of thunder mainly north of Oklahoma City overnight tonight, but mainly south of Oklahoma City will be fairly dry with a very minimal cloud cover overnight. And then tomorrow, yeah, we'll see those 80s once again, and then finally waiting for that cold front to come in Friday morning. But tonight we'll drop down into the upper 60s, 63 in Oklahoma City, 61 in Norman, and then tomorrow daytime highs in the lower 80s to even upper 80s in some spots for tomorrow as well. But here's that full 7-day forecast. Yeah, we have 2 rounds of cooler air coming in, one on Friday morning, cooling us off through the weekend, and then again on Monday when our rain chances start to increase to about 40%. Another cold front comes in on Mondays. If you're looking a lot like fall, and it certainly is going to feel like fall next week as well. You know what? I'll send it back, you guys. That's my forecast.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. I'm going to have to reschedule my senior pictures because I was planning on having them on Sunday night, but if it's too cold for that, I might have to do it earlier in the week when it's a lot warmer.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I got out of that is I'm pulling out my Uggs. Hey, it's cozy
fall
season.
Exactly. Pull out those coats from the winter. Well, it might be another pass-fail semester for students. OU Nightly's John Barry is here with more. A second consecutive pass for fall semester for students. Back in the spring, the university left students elect to switch to a pass or fail grading system due to the impact of COVID. Dr. David Craig says, I think in the spring it was vital for students to have a pass-fail option. That was such a crazy time, such a fast switch, and people had to scramble just to figure out how to get through. With the university going completely virtual after Thanksgiving, this grading system is not as imperative as it was in the spring. Dr. David Craig says, I don't think it's necessary. I think that we're in a really unusual time. I see the benefits and I would certainly be supportive of it if it happened. Students have already made a petition in favor of the alternate grading system. John Barry reported for us, and hopefully the students get another break this semester. Well, the Sooners look to face off TCU in the Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth this weekend. Audrey, what do you got for us?
Well, with Big Ten football returning this weekend, we've got a big look back at what happened just 10 years ago in mascot history. Sports is up next. Nightly, I'm Audrey Goodson, and it's time for sports. Well, after a bye week, the Sooners are back in action this Saturday to take on TCU. They're coming off of a huge win against Texas, where many players had the biggest game of their careers. Austin Stogner has had a difficult freshman year behind him, but he's looking forward to a bright future ahead after his big performance in the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, there were some points where you could get frustrated, but I wouldn't trade it last year for anything because it taught me so much. I was able to learn a lot from Grant, Lee, Braden, and Jay Holland, and I wouldn't be the player I am today without it. I have a lot to get better, but I am very grateful for having that year last year to learn. It all starts in practice. You got to be on your A game all week and be practicing like you play every week, says Stogner. Quade Cummins and the golf team are currently in round 3 of the Merido College Invitational Tournament. After the second round yesterday, the Sooners were in 7th place. Meanwhile, Cummins took some time off to talk to us on Sooner Sports Pad last night, talking about his future as a golfer. And if you missed it, you can catch the show right here on OU TV right after our newscast. Fox Sports Oklahoma will replay Sooner Sports Pad several times, including tonight at 10:30, as well as tomorrow evening at 5:30 p.m. And the 2 best teams in baseball will meet in Arlington, Texas tonight in Game 1 of the World Series. The Dodgers are back in the Fall Classic for the 3rd time in the last 4 years, seeking their first title since 1988. The Rays are looking for their first title ever and just their 2nd World Series appearance. And the Miami Dolphins have decided that it is Tua's time to shine, naming him the starting quarterback for their next game. The rookie's start will come 351 days after the devastating hip injury that put an end to his college career. With the bye week, he and the Dolphins have 2 weeks to prepare for their matchup with the LA Rams. And Kyler Murray improved his all-time record in Jerry World to a perfect 7-0 last night. The Cardinals throttled the Cowboys 38-10 in their Monday Night Football matchup. This was the Dallas Cowboys' first game after losing their franchise quarterback Dak Prescott to a serious ankle injury. And after a dramatic offseason, Big Ten football is finally back on the gridiron this weekend. In honor of this, let's go back in time 10 years to the famous mascot fight between Ohio University's Rufus and Ohio State's Brutus. Well, it all starts with Rufus tackling Brutus out of nowhere. And no, it doesn't stop there. Rufus then continues to chase him down into the end zone, throwing some nasty punches. Eventually, Rufus had to be escorted out of the stadium. Now, I was just 10 years old when this happened, but I can literally remember it like it was yesterday. Lindsey and Mckenzie, let's come back to you.
Thank you so much, Audrey. I remember that too. I mean, it was an all-out brawl. We were all standing up in our seats, shouting for our favorite mascot to win. I mean, that was practically the game in itself.
No, really, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Audrey. This group is showing off their strengths, shirtless.
Oh yeah, that's right. We said shirtless. Stay tuned to find out exactly what they're celebrating.
I'm Olivia Dague at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A Southern Californian boat owner is in deep water today after the National Transport Safety Board ruled them responsible for a fire. The tragedy took 34 lives last year on Labor Day weekend during a scuba trip. Investigators believe the fire started in the back of the boat where divers plugged in devices with lithium batteries that caused this fire to spread rapidly. The NTSB blamed Truth Aquatics Incorporated for negligence.
Thanks, Olivia. Today, we're talking about a show of strength, and when I say show, I mean that literally.
Check out this parade of police showing off their muscles. You can see rows of men showcasing their athleticism, as they should.
These are the new recruits to the Egyptian police, and this was part of their graduation ceremony outside last week. It was all broadcast on Egyptian TV, and it's gone viral, and there's quite no surprise there.
I mean, you love to see it. Look at them dragging that car.
Hey, I don't want to say too much.
I mean, what more could you want? Speaking of seeing things,
I hear we're going to have something special tonight, Lindsey.
Yeah, what can we see tonight, Tyler?
You know what? We got the Orionids meteor shower, but I'll tell you, I want to know where you sign up for that That police academy thing, I was just looking at that, it was interesting to me. Anyway, but so we have the Orionids meteor shower tonight, but it will be cloudy, so it might be a little bit hard to see. But here's that full 7-day forecast once again. We do have 2 rounds of cooler air coming in, one on Friday going into the weekend, and then again on Monday we have another round of cooler air that's coming in, but this one might be a bit stronger than the one on Friday, so we'll keep our eyes peeled and see how this plays out over the coming days.
For watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communications. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 4:30.
Have a great evening. Good night.